Which of these swords
should you purchase?
Come with us to find out.
OuttaSpaceReviews.
You may recognize this sword from the episode up here. This is the Chinese edition Ankokuken Kurayami. But what's this?
From Premium Bandai Japan, we have the Kyukoku Daiseiken Ankokuken Kurayami. Ow.
So many syllables.
So you can already see the differences with the swords right there.
Well, you can't really see much of a difference. It's all in the paint job, isn't it?
It is the same mold that they used for the original China edition, and then they just slapped a brand new paint job and some extra features inside this sword. So this sword came out in late July last year for 18,700 yen. But just remember, something this big, look at these boxes. Look at them. Look how big they are. You're gonna have a lot of shipping for that. We paid only about 250 for this China edition. So this was already going for over 200 plus over $100 to ship this one too. We were able to acquire this one locally in Australia, but this one had to come direct from Japan.
But we finally have it and we can do a direct comparison.
Yes.
This one, the color of the sword is molded into the plastic, so you can see the swirling of the pigment in the plastic.
It's using the same mold, so it's probably the base color of the China edition underneath. They've given it a metallic paint job this time.
Over here you can see the marbling in the rubber on the blade. It does look a little bit cheap compared to the one over here with the finish paint job. The rubber of the blade, this one, is softer than that one.
Yeah.
To me they feel softer.
Yeah.
Stabbing people with that one hurts a little bit more than this one.
Now with this version, it has the same 3 buttons as the China edition does.
We have the engraved hilt button, we have the trigger, and we have the Jargon reader up here on the blade.
The other differences is this one has voice lines and background music, because that's what you're paying for. Music and voice lines, I guess.
It's so cool. Imagine wandering around the convention with your own background music.
That's true, that is
Pretty
true.
neat.
The one thing about this, it does have 3 characters, but unfortunately it doesn't have Sophia in it.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So this sword did come out 2 years after Saber finished, but they didn't include Sophia as one of the voice characters on this blade. Now the 3 character modes that they did include in this sword was the first Calibur that we saw, so that's Daichi. The second Calibur, which is actually the third Calibur, that's Kento. And the third Calibur, which is actually the first Calibur, which is Hayato. So yeah, they didn't include a 4th mode that was Sophia, as she is the one that ends up with the Ankokuken Kurayami. Go on, Bandai.
Quite mad, because here I am cosplaying Sophia and I finally get this sword after so long.
Yep.
And it's not included.
Yep.
I should have done my research prior, but now we're here to inform you.
Without further ado, let's try out these toys.
And play with them a bit.
Yeah, definitely. One important thing to note is when you turn it on, it is very loud. As per Bandai, they recommend just putting a piece of tape onto the speaker. The next thing included in this sword is some background music. So let's quickly check them out.
That's cool.
At any point, you can turn it off just by holding the emblem button. Because it is a memorial item, we're not going to do the base mode for this one. We're only going to play with it with the actor's voice lines. So just remember that it's just exactly the same, but now they got sound lines. Because if you want to know what it sounds like without it, then maybe you should have just gone for the China edition. Just remember that there was a link up there. But if you really care about the voice lines, that's what we're here for. We're going to check them out. So let's get started with Daichi.
私は全てを捨てた。そして真理を手にする。
All right, now that we got the sound mode on, every time we do something now, it's going to have some voice lines. When you pull the trigger, it's going to have a slash and a grunt sound.
宮の意志を継ぐのは俺ら組織と戦うために力を手にする。お前が見ているものが真実とは限らん。この政権はお前が持つべきものではない。私は全てを捨てた。そして真理を手にする。そのために悪魔に魂を売った。いや、俺が世界を守る。そして深宮を悪魔に変えた黒幕を。いや、ジャクリード。
It's time to transform, so let's Henshin into Dark Dragon. So you're getting used to the full transformation sounds as seen with the China edition and the Japanese edition. But there's one thing that they include in here, a short version of the transformation so you don't have to listen to it every time when you turn it on. So let's check out the quick Dark Dragon transformation. Sick of changing mode and then having to listen to the whole thing. It's like, no, just do the quick one and then get right into it. Now that we've transformed using this one, there's one other thing we have to point out.
So over here in the Chinese edition, the Jagan reader, you can scan a book up to 3 times and has 3 separate attacks. But over here, it's a bit different.
With this one, it goes through a rotating process. So as per the show, Kamen Rider Calibur never used a 2-scan attack. So instead, he does 1 scan attack, a different variation of the 1 scan attack, and then for the 3rd button press, it's a triple Wonder Ride book scan attack that was used on the show. It's time to do some special attacks. So let's start with the Jagan Reader. The next thing we're going to do after the Wonder Ride book scans are the sheathing attacks. So let's both check out the differences of these blades. Now that's mine. Now let's check out the China edition and compare.
And that's my one.
So you definitely saw the differences in that one.
But I really like this one because it does prompt you when you want to cosplay. It gives the sound of the unsheathing. It gives the sound of pulling it back, of doing that. You get prompts when you want to line it up with your actions.
So now we're going to go into Zhao Dragon mode.
What I do want to mention to everyone is please check out our Henshin videos. We'll link them just up here. We've done the Henshins as we are dressed right now.
That's it.
With this sword.
So now that we've changed our mode into Jiao, let's see what differences we got this time. So let's check them out. Now that we've checked all of Daichi's sounds in this sword, we're going to change it over to Kento.
Swap.
I get the cheap one now.
Okay, let's change into Kento mode. So we hold down the Jagan reader, turn it on, and press it again. So now that we're in this mode, the voice lines are different. With the slashing sounds, they've got his grunts. We've got the same background music as before. That doesn't change. Same as before, you can do a long transformation. And a short transformation. Now it's time to do some special attacks starring Kento. Let's do a Jagan scan. Same as before, when it's in Dark Dragon mode, it only does 3 scans. Let's check them out. Now it's time to do the sheathing Hisatsu waza. Now that we've done all that, we're changing to Jiao Dragon.
My finger's nowhere near it. Saber
Where's
sword,
the
right?
button?
Saber sword.
Just like Daichi's, there is only one Wonder Ride book scan in Jiao Dragon mode. Now it's time for the Hisatsu waza. Now while we're in Kento mode, you actually get 4 attacks. The extra attack is another sealing attack. So let's check them out. So as you just saw, the 4th one is an exclusive second sealing of the sword.
I'm taking over one more time to do Hayato's mode. All right, so just like before, make sure your sword's off, hold the button, turn it on. Now it's in Hayato Mode, which is Kento's father. Same as before, at the bottom of the hilt, it's got the Hayato voice lines. And also hold it for the same music as per the other 2 voice modes. So all the buttons are the same as before. There are no changes. It's more closer to Daichi Mode. It doesn't have that extra sound. And in the show, he was never able to transform into Jiao Dragon because Jiao Dragon didn't exist at that time. But they left it in and you can transform into Jiao Dragon while as Hayato. So let's transform into Calibur. So now you can scan the Jagan Reader and perform the same 3 attacks as before, but now with Hayato grunts. Now that we've done that, now to do the Hisatsu Waza in Dark Dragon mode. As you can see already in Dark Dragon mode, he doesn't have too many exclusive voice lines since he wasn't Calibur that much. So let's just check out his grunts in Dark Dragon mode. Now that we're transformed into Drow Dragon mode, he doesn't have any exclusive voice lines like Kento did, but he still has grunts after he does his special attacks. Let's check out a Jagan Read scan. So for this mode, as you heard, there's only one attack just with his grunts. Now to perform some Hisatsu Wazas. There was only 3 attacks. Only Kento has that exclusive 4th line when it comes to sealing items. And that's pretty much all of the sounds.
There's still a lot of sounds. There could be more if they included Sophia. But I actually really like it because ultimately you're looking at a sword that is the same price before shipping, but you are actually getting loads more value with this, as well as a nicer paint job.
So you do get those extra voice lines, but also for cosplay purposes, if you didn't want the voice line mode on, you can go around and pretend that you're sealing swords when you're in Drow Dragon mode, but otherwise walking around doing special attacks, especially if you have a full armored cosplay, would be pretty cool too. Because you're not limited to just a few sounds like with China Edition, and if you really wanted to, you can go around just having your background music, as you said earlier, playing when people are like, oh, what's happening? And you just come around going, doo, 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 doo.
And while we're talking about personal preferences, I like the box over here. You'll notice this one, because it is a shiny print, it does rub off whenever there's damage. It does look a little rough, a little worn, especially in shipping, it gets knocked around. But this one, with the matte printing, it looks clean, It looks great in the collection. And honestly, just the artwork on this one is far more striking. And this one just looks like a kid's toy. There are instructions on the back of the box, so you can have a look at what you're getting into before you purchase it, whereas the instructions for this one are in the booklet inside the box. So if you're seeing it on the shelf in the store, you kind of have to look up what it does.
Correct.
Or watch this video to figure out what it does. Yay!
So this has been the review for the Kyukoku Daiseiken Ankokuken Kurayami, while comparing it to the Chinese edition of the Ankokuken Kurayami. After all that you've seen, which one would you recommend for everyone to buy?
I'm very familiar with this one, but I've been won over by the new one. The new one looks absolutely wonderful. It sounds wonderful. The background music is a lovely touch. I am extremely irked by the lack of Sophia voice lines, but that's okay. It is very good value for money, especially when they come in at a very similar cost.
Yeah, that's true. So you may not be able to find the China edition for a good price. So if you can't find it in your country for a cheaper value, like because there'd be too much to import it from China, highly recommend getting the Japanese edition, because look at that shiny metallic paint compared to the flat paint job on this one. More features, great box art, as you can see there, and it's got more attack sounds in both of the modes compared to you lose one of the attacks when you change modes in the China edition. But also a big shout out to King Clark, who was able to acquire a Ankokuken Kurayami Japanese edition for us to get our hands on. But thank you so much for watching today's episode.
It's been an absolute pleasure to be here on the show with you today. Please like and comment below, especially if you want to see me in more episodes in the future.
Otherwise, comment which version would you get, or do you have one, or do you have both?
And with that,
We'll see you in the next episode.